What is happening, you wonderful people? So, I just got home a little bit ago from seeing the first movie that I have watched for 2025, first advanced screening for 2025 as well, Wolfman. And in this film, we follow a husband and wife and their daughter as they are living in New York City, but they travel out to the woods in Oregon where the dad grew up with his dad, and they encounter the Wolfman. And the wife and daughter have to basically survive the night and work together to try to get away from the Wolfman on the premises and the dad turning into the Wolfman. And that's pretty much all I can say without giving too much away. Let's talk about it. So starting off the bat with the positives, I like to talk about the positives first, the negatives. So we'll talk about positives, and then later in the video, negatives. So, y'all, I really enjoyed this film, and this is the first film I've seen for 2025, first advanced screening, and so far this year's good. It's good so far, and this is the first movie that starting off a year has been good. Like last year, I started off with, I think, The Beekeeper or something. Didn't like that film. Or Night Swim. Didn't like that. And then 2 years ago, I think I saw something that I didn't like. I don't remember. But the atmosphere of this film is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. The tension is amazing. Maybe not as suspenseful as it should be, but for the most part, it's suspenseful esque enough for what they're doing, what they're trying to do with this film. And maybe all the acting isn't superb or over the top great, but I actually found the acting enjoyable. I did, and you get emotionally invested in this story because this story is about this family, and they've gone through something, and they're trying to work out their relationship, and you see those emotional beats. I don't want to say you feel those emotional beats, and I also want to say it's kind of unclear like what the family goes through. There's kind of tension between them and their relationship in a way, maybe. And it's gruesome, it's brutal. I had to look away a few times. There are scenes where I'm like, I don't want to watch that. Oh, why is he doing that? Why don't do that to yourself? Like, it's just, I don't know the main actor's name. I've seen him before, but he was dang good in this. He did an exceptional job. And Julia Garner, I think is her name. She was really good. And I think this is the first film I've seen her in. Second will be Fantastic Four, which I'm actually more excited to see her in Fantastic Four now after seeing this film because she's really good. And what she was given, she did good with. She did good with what she was given. Same with the main actor and the girl. I don't know the girl's name, but one a lady I was sitting by in the during the movie, before the movie started, she told me that her last name was Firth because there was a commercial on and she said it was Colin Firth. And I was like, okay, that might be his daughter. I don't know. I'm not sure. But she was really good. She was really good. And, like I mentioned earlier, there's tension. It builds up. And again, maybe not as suspenseful as it should be. But like I said earlier as well, the atmosphere is great. The cinematography is great. I love the sound design. The sound design. You need to see this in IMAX and Dolby. See it in IMAX and Dolby because this is a sound booming film, if that makes sense. Like, the sound is awesome. Like, whether it's the generator turning on or just the Wolfman and his, like, him, like, hearing things around himself, it's great. And there are scenes in this movie where you have him as the Wolfman and then his wife and his daughter. And there are scenes between those two and him where it changes perspective. And the way it changes perspective, maybe it looks a little cheesy at times. maybe it's visually kind of weird looking, but it's cool. It's cool how you have that color grading and you have that color palette, I should say, and it switches on to the net to this person to that person. It switches from him to the mom, and it's just I love how they did that. It kind of mixed the sound design with the color grading. I would say it mixed it. I don't know if that's the right word, but it moved. Like I don't even know if moves the right word. Like it transitioned, and I love how they did that. I really did. And overall, I'm about to get in my negatives because I do have a few, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. The positives in this movie outweigh the negatives, and I really had a good time. And I think trying to think if I have any more positives. I have a lot, so I mean, there's a lot, but I overall not a top 10 film, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So now talking about my negatives, I don't have very many, but I have a few. And the Wolfman design, it might grow on me, and at times it looked pretty cool because there are two Wolfmans in this film. The Wolfman that is on the premises in the film actually looked pretty good, and he looked better than the dad as the Wolfman. But there are also times where the dad as the Wolfman looked okay, but overall, the design didn't really work for me that much. He looked burnt, and he just looked like he was just disordered and just deformed, and he didn't look like a Wolfman. And I was just sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know if this is working for me. I don't think it is. And the other thing about this film is that there's a sense of predictability, and you know what you're going to get with horror films nowadays. The predictability side of it. Same with the predictable and predictability side of Blumhouse films. You know what you're going to get. And while it is suspenseful, the film, it could have been they could have upped the ante with the suspense a little bit more, and we barely get to see the other Wolfman because the story is about them surviving really from both Wolfmans, and we don't really get to see the premises Wolfman, the Wolfman on the premises. We see him a majority of the time. We do, but not as much as we should. And there's it is I wouldn't say it's like the pacing was fine, but it just and the story can get a little bit confusing at times. And I don't really want to go into why because I don't want to give anything away. But the story is a story you've seen a million times. Well, I don't want to say it's a million times before, but it's a story that you've seen before. But I feel like with the story, it has like its own unique flavor, and the movie doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't, and the movie at times really only one major part that it shouldn't even really be a negative, but it just caught my eye, and I was like, oh, I noticed that. It kind of loses what it wants to do in a way, and I'm just sitting there, and it didn't take me out of the film at all. It didn't, but I'm just sitting there, and I noticed it, and it caught my eye, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure. Are we doing like what are y'all doing? Like, are you losing? Like, do you know what you're doing? Like, it didn't. And some of the visual effects, when the transitions happen from his perspective to his wife's perspective, it looks a little cheesy. And some of the dialogue is cheesy. You get some tropes and cliches that you see in horror movies nowadays. But overall, I really did enjoy this film, and the positives outweigh the negatives. And I think this is a really solid start to 2025, and I'm really happy to say that I thoroughly enjoyed this film, and it's a good Blumhouse film. It's one of the best films they've released in a few years. I would definitely watch it again. I already want to watch it again, and yeah, it's good. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed Wolfman. I really did. I'll give this movie a 4 out of 5 stars. If you're looking for a movie to go see, this Thursday night or this week opening weekend, go watch Wolfman. It's a really good film. Majority of people are enjoying it. A lot of people I talked to at my screening, it was kind of mixed, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and let's talk about it down below. Tell me what y'all thought. So yeah, that'll wrap up this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, share on this video. We were at 687 subs. Next big milestone is 700, then 8, 9, the big one's 1K, and beyond that as well. And if you're new as well, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, trailer reactions, movie live streams, movie news, all that wonderful movie stuff under the movie umbrella. And again, let's talk about down below in the comment section below. Tell me what y'all thought. Did y'all like Wolfman? Are y'all planning on seeing it this weekend if y'all haven't seen it yet? If y'all saw it at y'all's advanced screening, tell me what y'all thought. Did y'all like it? Did y'all not? Let's talk about it down below in the comment section below. Keep talking movies, my wonderful people. Cheers.